Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here for checking out the episode. You know what to do. If you like what you see, what you hear, hit that subscribe button. I put out 3 new interviews every single week, so it's a great way to keep up with all of your favorite artists. And I got to tell you, I'm so excited. He's one of my all-time favorites, one of the all-time greats. Dave Navarro is here. Hello.
Hey man, how are you? I like
I'm
that
doing all right,
room.
man. I try to keep it I just try to keep it way cooler than I could ever be behind
I,
me.
that's what I try and do. You know what I mean? Like it kind of looks like the Nosferatu's
Yeah,
lair in here.
that's great.
But
Yeah,
at,
well, otherwise
but
you
at
get
the
this
end of
very
the
generic white guy face.
yeah,
So
and
it's
at
like,
the
let's
end of
make
the
something else.
day, I just stay home and watch documentaries about World War II and Vietnam, and you know, like I'm not on the Ouija board, and I'm not but anyway,
But that
I
room makes it look like you might be on the Ouija board. That's right. Yeah.
creates the illusion. No, I appreciate the mutual respect for the environments that we share because the environment has a lot to do with our mental, emotional capabilities and capacities and just comfortability. So,
Right.
and
Especially when you've got your personality. It's there's a myth if you want to perpetuate it or not. You have that
uh,
choice.
but I think, but aren't but by talking about it like this, aren't I not perpetuating it? You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's what we could
I'm
go.
dispelling. I'm actually doing the contrary.
Do you want to dispel it?
I care less. Dude, I'm 57. I've been
Yeah,
playing for so long, like
right.
days of mystique are out the window.
Well, man, it's so nice to talk to you again.
It's interesting. You just said consequence of sound.
Mhm.
And it got me thinking, sound has consequences.
Sure.
You know, I put on Dark Side of the Moon and I'm like, I enter a portal into some other dimension of beauty and freedom and colors and feelings and emotions and depth. But if there's a gardener outside with one of those electric blowers with the leaves, that's making a sound too,
Sure.
right? But I want to scratch my eyes out. So that would be a consequence of sound,
Mhm.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I think well, in the context we're talking about, it's the gift of sound, you
Much more
know?
of a positive thing is what we're getting at here. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the consequence of it, like the guy's blowing leaves instead of sweeping them up,
Mhm.
like a guy with real work ethic. He's blowing it around. It's not going
You're
anywhere.
not a fan of the leaf blower, is what we're getting to here too.
I'm just using it as an example. It's a metaphor. I
I'm
know a
sorry.
guy's
I'm not going
a
to walk
guy's
over it. Please continue.
I know a guy's got to make a living. I don't have any problem with that. But this is nothing against the leaf blower community. I'm just saying the consequence is you wake up early, and that's what I think of when I think of consequence of sound.
Sure.
I think of you know, the house that's getting built across the street, and they start at 6 a.m. They're just hammering and trucks and I think it might be a nice idea to change the site and the the entire organization to
All of it.
the gift of sound
The
that
gift.
we actually enjoy.
So two things real quick.
Yeah.
As far as I remember, they named it after a Regina Spektor lyric. Is where the consequence of sound phrase comes from. I
Well, it
love
should have
Regina Spektor's
been
music, so
consequence of marrying that guy.
and two, I'm nearly 1,000 episodes into this series, so I think at this point I'm going to lean into it. This is
To
this is
to
the consequence
rebrand would be a problem. Yeah,
to be a
I can
problem.
see it.
And only to kick a dead horse, when you said the leaf blower thing, Henry Rollins and William Shatner once did a song for Ben Folds, and in it they just go off on leaf blowers.
Oh, they do.
Yeah. Just
Shatner and Rollins.
yeah, just
Oh, so I'm in good
you're in
company
good company. That's what I'm getting at.
because Shatner is like at the top of the tier of like, the wholesome America's, dad.
Sure.
Everybody loves him. Rollins, hardcore underground punk rock scene. I'm just some guy, but we all share the same thing. And you know what? As a little secret, I'll bet you leaf blowers themselves hate leaf blowers outside their house when they wake up in the morning.
Probably true.
You know
It's
what I'm
probably
thinking?
true. Yeah.
The guy's going, that motherfucker outside is fucking, that's my shit.
He is. It's
That's my shit. I wake people up.
where's the
So,
what was that Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez garbage truck movie back in the late 80s, early 90s? You know those it's like Men at Work or something like that.
yeah, I
Anyway.
can't remember because I don't watch garbage like that, but go ahead.
Touche. I'm just saying, like, there's something here for the leaf blowing
If it's not a Swedish
market.
art house film
Uh-huh.
or a documentary on World War II, I haven't seen it.
Do there need to be more documentaries on World War II and World War One?
I don't think there can be enough.
Really? That's
Well, first of all, in all sincerity, enough human beings died and suffered through those wars where it should be very, very apparent to everybody that we have to do what we have to do to have some fucking peace on this planet and stop killing.
sure.
So, you know, that's item number one on a very human level. Item number two on a fascination level, because wasn't alive at in those years, and so I have no idea what the climate felt like, and like to watch all this stuff go down is, it's weird, man. I have this weird thing with like my soothing going to sleep material.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And it's usually World War II in color. They got all these new things coming out all the time. And I have decided that I'm over Europe and I'm all about the Pacific.
Oh yeah, so you've went through the entirety of what you need out of that part of it.
The Europe stuff we
Sure. Yeah.
Hitler was a bad guy. We got it. Good. We
But
got
there's
it.
more to the story.
But the shit that went down in the Pacific,
Sure.
my God. And then that's the only place that a atomic weapon was ever deployed in the world's history.
Hmm.
And it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
But
So I think that's
anyway,
what I got more into, and I didn't go deep from the sounds of what you do, but like growing up a fan of Indiana Jones
yeah.
made me more interested in World War One.
Oh, okay.
I think because it was more mysterious and just made no sense. To this
Right.
day, it doesn't make sense.
I
I mean, you
just
see how it happened, but it doesn't make sense.
just the other night I just watched 1917,
Yeah,
which is I don't know if you've seen it, but it's absolutely mind-blowing.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, the interesting thing is that well, I must have been about 10 years old when the first one came out. Um, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Hmm.
And that got me into archeology.
Hmm.
And that got me into just the mysteries of this planet. And I think that and a combination of documentary made by Eric von Daniken called The Gods, Chariots of the Gods, which is all about the UFO world and ancient civilizations being brought here by, other life forms, those two kind of things got me really into research and science and fringe science and all that kind of stuff. So my viewing is really it's really bipolar because it's either like deep, serious, heavy subjects or really dark, Norwegian black and white films with subtitles or like 90 Day Fiance.
Of course,
You know what I mean?
because we can tell multitudes, and you need some levity in your life.
And sometimes I can't choose.
Yeah.
Uh,
There
oh
is a
no.
war of the 90 Day Fiance. There's there is war within.
There is war within, and if they could somehow put those people in a battle,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I wouldn't have any reason to leave the house, I don't think.
I think they call that Squid Games, more or less. That's
Squid Games. I didn't see that. Any
I didn't
good?
see it either, but I feel
Yeah.
like the joke still works. You understood the reference.
I was just thinking of the Foreigner song.
Which one?
Squid
Oh,
Games. I can't take it anymore. Squid Games.
I was singing your name to the Macarena melody earlier with that in
Oh
mind.
yeah.
Hey, Dave Navarro.
Hey, Dave Navarro. And there's also The Sun Will Come Out, Navarro.
Ah, nice,
There's a
nice.
lot of them. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can make it work for you.
you do that. But that's the transition of music, right? Because here you are, you're out on the road with Janes. It's great
Hmm.
to see you all doing your thing again. You're out there with Love and Rockets, and
Dude, loving
it's
Rockets.
which you all have got so much history with. I mean, the early days you were opening, they were opening whatever it was, but Daniel
Yeah,
Ash, I mean, come on.
we toured with them in the 80s and yeah, and actually watching Daniel Ash every night because we were opening for the band, excuse me. Um really had an impact on my playing.
Mhm.
So from that era, from that year forward, I was really I was really fascinated by playing less, leaving space, ambience, simplicity, arpeggiated melodic parts, things that are repetitive and hypnotic, and I kind of came into that tour from more of a Hendrix, Clapton, Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, Eddie Van Halen background.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? The band got together in the late 80s and like kind of really didn't have a reason to be together because Perry was goth, Eric was punk, and Steven and I were in a speed metal band,
Right.
right? But um, I think that what happened is we all looked at each other's musicianship and were fascinated by it.
Mhm.
You know, they couldn't do the stuff that we could do, and we couldn't do the stuff that they could do, and they didn't listen to anything we listened to, and vice versa. So we would kind of exchange, check this out. This is Rush. And then Eric would be like, okay, check this out. This is Joy Division. And would like, it would kind of go like that. And then we all kind of found some common footing. But I think that Love and Rockets tour was like really the culmination of me like clicking,
Mhm.
and going, it's not all about shredding and proficiency and musicianship and you know uh music theory. It's about creating a feeling. You know what I mean? I really got a lot of that from Daniel Ash and David Gilmour.
Sure.
There's a number of players I could
That was the consequence of you hearing those sounds, is what look
to
what it
bring it
does.
back to the title of your show. Exactly.
I feel like if I needed to figure out how to do it, I could still work in the title Imminent Redemption into our and to be able to seg back over. But those words are sitting there and
You can, because I think that's what Perry's singing about on that song, with the new Jane's Addiction song, Imminent Redemption, which is now on like all the streaming platforms, and I believe there's going to be vinyl of that available because
nice.
I'm a vinyl freak. I'm like, we gotta have vinyl. Um, but yeah, he's just talking about like there's a line in the song where he says, "It's not only me. We all need a little redeeming," and it is time for the world to unite and just kind of you know like, come on, guys. Like, we're only here for a short period of time anyway.
Mhm.
Just worry about yourself. Take care of the people you love. Be kind to others, and like let's get on with it. But so I mean, I'm simplifying his
Yeah.
lyrics because he's such a great poet. But
And it's a hell of a track that, I mean, for that
thank
to
you.
And almost self-referential, of course. There's some callback in there. Hey, here we are again, and that call to arms that you're talking about. I mean, what a great rallying cry
Yeah.
for you all to return with.
Yeah.
And
It was the only rallying cry that we all four of us could agree on.
you recorded a B-side too, though, right? Like, you were talking
There's a
about the vinyl.
B-side, there's a B-side called True Love.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, that's gonna I love True Love. Um it's very weird. We were gonna put out Imminent Redemption on a vinyl disc. And I'm just gonna say this because it's funny. And it was just Imminent Redemption and nothing on the other side, just flat plastic.
Uh-huh.
And I got the test printing and I was like, the fuck is this? Like the idea of a record is,
Flip it.
there's two sides to it, there's two sides to it. And I was like, we got the other song. Why is that not backed on this one? And they're like, well, no, we're gonna put that one out later. And I go, okay, stop right there. So you're telling me that people are gonna want to go to the record players, drop the needle on one song and listen to it, and then get up, take the needle off, and take that disc off, and then put another one on, and then drop the needle on that for one song, and just keep doing that for one song for, like you were talking about 3 minutes.
Mhm.
You can't even get up and get a bottle of water. And by the time you're back, you gotta change records. So I was like, no, we gotta put a B-side on this. And I don't even care if it's a sound of the song of the humpback whale. We just
Gotta
put
be
something
something.
on there. You know what I mean? Put something on there. But
Yeah.
we ended up putting True Love on there. And so now we're on tour doing the US tour, and we're playing both these songs live. And they're brand new to us, they're brand new to the public. Um, the diehard people, fans that know us and know the new song get really stoked, and you can see their eyes widen and get really excited, and then you can see the other 2/3 of the audience kind of look like deer caught in the headlights, like, I don't know this one. Do you guys want to go get a drink? And
Well,
then
there's always going to be that song. There's always going to be that song. I mean, what you hear Plant talking about how Stairway for the first like 3 months they played it, everyone like went to sleep, and walked away. It's
is
like,
that true?
yeah, that's true. It's like because it hadn't happened yet, It was the new song
Yeah.
set.
Wow.
I was looking at your all set list and everything, and I'm hoping to see one of these shows. I'm planning on it, but I did
Hope
notice
so.
like because you're just besides the new songs, unless I'm wrong, you're only playing from the first three albums. You're not doing
Right.
the two at like there's nothing from the 2000s.
Strays are great escape artists.
Yeah,
Right. Well, we just, I mean, look,
which is a
we were
choice. It's fine. It's great. Those are great songs, all of them, and I love those two albums as well. That's
well,
me
the only choice,
judging.
the only reason is because Chris Chaney wrote those songs with
Mhm.
us,
Right.
and Chris Chaney, you know, poor guy, now he's in AC/DC.
Mhm. Poor guy.
Yeah, no. In fact, we played Vegas the other night, and he called me afterwards. And he was like, "How'd the show go?" And I go, "It was cool, man. It was the first one back, a little rough around the edges, but it felt good." And I go, "Anyway, enjoy your private jet and 8 days off and sold out Wembley arenas, motherfucker." You know what I mean? Have a great time because I'm about to hoof it to Arizona, 9 hour drive when you guys are just gonna like. I mean, they have it's the cushiest gig you could
Mhm.
ask for. But he is, and the thing about Chris Chaney, he is just so, so, so talented. He's one of the greatest bass players I've ever met. Certainly that I've ever played with, but ever even met. And he can play Jaco Pastorius, Stanley Clarke, all what you name it, there's nothing he can't do. And the fact that he's now in a band where all he has to do is play EADG over and over and over in different configurations is amazing, but I'm just so happy for him.
gotta be so hard remembering not to screw those up, which order they go in. If it's
I
like,
mean, it just, yeah, I mean, he's up in his room, doing all this like
uh-huh.
crazy jazz technique because he's like a actual schooled musician from Berkeley School of Music and knows how to can read music like from charts and stuff like that. And now he's going don on don on, and you're just like, it's Chris Chaney, but it's awesome,
Gig's
good
a
for
gig,
him.
and you're playing with AC/DC, no complaints, no notes.
It's AC/DC, it's like so, but the reason for not playing Great Escape Artist or Strays is that Eric wasn't a part of those, and we wanted to keep this feeling like the original 1.0 band.
Yeah.
And those are the songs that, and frankly, uh, Eric was the musical backbone of those records. He wrote the bass lines that are in my opinion, the catchiest parts of the songs. The parts that you sing in your head, and or whatever the song may be. And, you know, so having him back, and we've had a bunch of bass players, all very gifted, competent bass players, but having the guy who wrote those songs with his energy and his size and the way his pick digs into the string
Mhm.
and the way he pushes forward, like it's that the difference is insane. He's the original guy, you know what I mean? It's like you're like after 25 years or whatever it's been, you I'm sitting on the other side of the stage going, "Oh, that's how this goes. I got it. Oh, now I understand."
Yeah.
So it really feels, when we're playing, like, man, it's bizarre because when we're playing, it feels like the original days. It feels like the late 80s, early 90s. Um, Especially when we go out just the four of us with not a ton of production, just some lights and like keep it real simple. It's just about the music. It tends to make the show vibier and heavier and a little bit I don't know, a little bit more, in my opinion, awe-inspiring or chill-inspiring, because you're really listening to what's being said lyrically. You're really listening to the music, but and you don't have, you know, a bunch of clowns doing backflips behind us or whatever. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like
Right, right.
you got to focus, and that stuff can be distracting, And a lot of bands tour with a bunch of stuff, and it's just like, man, I came here to see the band.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And people are already, the one thing people forget, people are already watching the band through their phone to
Right.
begin with.
At the
So
show.
at the show
Yeah,
with
I
the
know.
people right there doing doing whatever they're doing, right? And you're looking at it on a little screen, like, I guess to save the memory or whatever it is, right? So now you're watching tiny little guys on your screen with a bunch of clowns doing backflips and fireworks and all kinds of, like, how are you going to have an
Mhm.
emotional reaction
And this
to
is what
that?
you all, I just had Randy from Lamb of God on here
Uh,
recently, and we were talking about the same thing. And I think what he said was because because the audience doesn't consider the whole relationship, like you as the artist on the stage are feeding off of the power from the crowd. And when you look out there and you're only seeing phones, I mean, you lose something. He said, I'm just going to walk out and I'm going to sit down on a chair and I'm going to grab my phone and point it out to the crowd and I'll sing the song. And I'll just sing it very calmly. He goes, and I'm going to see if you enjoy that because I certainly don't. It's
that's really funny. That's really funny. I have a different slant on it. Like, I see it, I don't understand it, but I go, you know what? You bought the ticket, enjoy the show however you want to. You know what I mean?
right.
You can take a paper towel roll and look through the tube at us. And if that, makes you happy, so be it. You know what I mean? So I understand what he's saying, but I'm a little bit more flexible on it because
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, I brought up Prince on that interview too, and Prince, I saw his last tour,
mhm.
and I'm in Louisville. It stopped here next door at the venue. And of course he was the whole thing, like, don't no phones until the very
Right.
end. I'll let you know when
Oh,
to take it out. And sure enough, he does Let's Go Crazy, and the idea, let's go. He goes, get your phones out now. And he poses the whole thing. It's like, yeah, man, I got everything I needed that day right
that's
there
kind of a genius idea.
and had the best time the rest of the show.
That's incredibly genius.
Yeah.
And and I'm probably going to reinvent that idea and present it as my own to the band. You know what would be a good idea? Actually, I was born on the same day as Prince.
Is it
But
true? I probably knew
yeah,
that somewhere. Yeah.
yeah, June 7th. But yeah, that's cool. I mean, look, people I posted a picture on my Instagram just a little while ago. We have VIP packages, people do that, and people can, you know, they can buy an extra little something and an addendum to their ticket and go stand on the stage and watch the band on the stage, like really be right there. And if you look at the picture, I walked over to them, right? Like, so there's the VIP roped off people who paid extra money, and I'm here playing for them, and they're all like this.
Yeah.
I'm 3 feet away. And so my caption was like, what was it? I was having a deep soul connection with everybody's phones. But like I said, you do enjoy it the way you want to enjoy it.
um,
As long as you're having a good time, I don't give a fuck.
yeah.
But it used to really bother me, and I just kind of got over it.
What I appreciated, like, I love the sound that you all make. I love the sound the four of you all and the different incarnations. I mean, in as far as, I think the stuff you did with the Chili Peppers is the best stuff the Chili Peppers ever did. And I like the
Thank you.
Chili Peppers. God, Trust No One was such a great. I'm trying to tell you, like, I like everything that you do.
Wow, thank you.
I'm so impressed that you don't seem to have lost any of your edges. Like, just, from this new song right here, the fact that you are still as heavy as you are and still able to hit that breakdown in the song and go into space,
Mm.
and find those moments in 3.5 minutes or whatever it is. I don't think it's 3.5. I think it's like 3 minutes
I think that's three.
yeah,
It's
to still pull that
actually,
off. Like, not that there's any problem with like getting older and getting folkier at all. I mean, there's great stuff out there, but that's not you. Like, how are
mm,
you still finding the beauty in that heaviness?
I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of it has to do with years of loving the guitar and then getting sick to death of it and not touching it for a year, and then hearing something inspiring and falling in love with it again and picking it up and learning something new and then getting sick to death of it. And I was playing in a band called NHC
Mm-hmm.
with Taylor Hawkins and Chaney. And then once we lost him, I put the guitar away. I couldn't touch that thing for well over a year. And I started listening to Steely Dan in my house. And it's like, that is some weird playing. And so I started learning Steely Dan stuff, which I never really did a deep dive into, you know? And then I just kind of got into, okay, so now I'm playing guitar every day. I'm Steely Dan, Steely Dan, Steely Dan. And then it quickly uh turned into Eddie Van Halen. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go deep dive Eddie Van Halen. Everything's Van Halen. I'm reading about gear and tones and pedals and pods and outputs and this and that. And I think so, as sad as it is to say that I have fallen in and out of love with playing, I think that once you fall back in love with it, you're like, let's fucking go.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if I just loved it this whole time, yeah, you would be hearing the up close and personal acoustic album from me, where it's like, I'm gonna strip it back and get real now. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not, that's not me.
That's
We're
not
not
you.
stripping back and getting real. We're playing, we're a fucking rock band. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
This one's the most personal album I've ever done, and strip it back, just acoustic guitar and voice, and
How many
tell
times I hear
tell
this is
us
the most
tell
personal
us
album I've ever done. It's
tell a story. It's that simple. I'm not. That's not me, dude.
did you
Because you know why? Because there are lots of books where you can just read a story.
sure.
You know what I mean? So I don't need you to strip anything back to tell me a story. I could read a book, have it no soundtrack,
Mhm.
and read a story. You know, I don't mind the story within a sonic soundscape, but let's like, come on, let's try. Let's let's give it something to listen, let's balance the thing out here.
Is that part of the reason why there's never been another solo album like the Trust No One?
It's part of the reason. I think another part of the reason is that when I got out on tour, I just don't like lead singing.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. I could do it in the studio. I mean, serviceably,
Mhm.
not great. I'm not some great singer, but I can do it in the studio and I guess kind of have fun with that. But once I went out touring, I was like, oh, I hate this.
It's not you. That's important to
Yeah,
know who you are, though. Like you figured that out then.
yeah. Well, I mean, because so I'd have another guitar player,
Mhm.
which is the first time that ever, that I had that. And then, just trying to focus. Then I had to have in-ear monitors and focus on vocal levels and all this, all this stuff and worrying about the band. I mean, the respect I gained for lead singers after doing that is immeasurable, you know?
Mhm.
Like all the years prior, when Perry or Anthony would be complaining about this or that, and and three, the band members are going, oh, prima donna, lead singer guy, blah, 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 blah. I was like, well, you fucking go up there and try it, and then you'll know what he's talking about. And so, like, I feel just like, oh, I'm sorry, Anthony. I'm sorry, Perry. I'm sorry. This job that you have sucks unless you're fucking gifted at it. And I'm just, I could do it, but I was not gifted at it, and nor did I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't want all the eyes on me the whole show. I want to go and get lost in my instrument. That's what makes me happy. So I think that's why there was no follow-up.
When you get lost, I don't know if you'll be able to verbalize this or not, because I don't think I would. No, I don't know that I'd be able to, especially in those
So
moments.
you're
Those
saying because you couldn't do something, it's likely I can't do it
No, no, no.
either?
I'm saying I'm trying to find the truth in the question is what I'm trying to get to when I
Okay,
say that.
okay.
Because what I'm asking is, where do you go in those moments on stage?
Oh my God. The places I go on stage, man. Sometimes it's down a melancholy road of missing my dead mother, childhood angst and pain. Sometimes it's uh simply me thinking about what movies should we watch on the bus tonight? You know, sometimes I'm completely lost in some sort of DMT journey where it's just colors and shapes and non-existence in the vessel, so to speak,
Mhm.
where like there's some cosmic locking into the rest of the universe to which I'm such a small part of that I cease to exist. That's the part to shoot for,
Sure.
you know. You're thinking about what movie to watch on the bus. You're not really giving people like, but the truth is that it's all that stuff, you
Mhm.
know. It's fuck, how many texts do I got to return when I get done with the show because people had problem on the list? You know what I mean? Like the amount of shit that goes through our heads
Mhm.
during a show is like it's crazy. You know what I mean? It's like
But that's, because from the audience point of view, and I can say this because I have seen you in those moments,
mhm.
you know, luckily we don't know that you're like what I guess I'm trying to compliment you that you do such a good job of serving the moments, this
Okay.
believability that we need to feel, when you're
Yeah.
up there. So in those spacey moments when you are just, the groove is
Well,
hitting and everything.
okay. Then fair enough. And I'm gonna the caveat I will make is it's multitasking
Sure.
because I am truly in the moment and I am connecting with the guys and I am connecting with the crowd. But, I can also be like, fuck, I gotta call my dad back. Like,
Mhm.
but
Especially 40 years or whatever it's been, 35 years of being on a stage all the time. At some
right.
point, there's
Well,
muscle memory that will happen.
what's nice about this incarnation of Jane's Addiction and being back with Eric Avery and doing the 1.0 thing again is that it's enabling us to become very uh much more experimental on stage. So, for instance, we'll do 3 days and it'll be 7 minutes long, and then next night it'll be 12 minutes long. Or we'll do Kettle Whistle and it'll be 6 minutes long, or it'll be 10 minutes long. Like we don't know. Like there's all three of us musically are just going, fuck it, let's go to the edge of the cliff and like just like if there's a train wreck, oh well, but like let's let's ambient out here. You know what I mean? Let's not have a specific plan. The song doesn't have to go dun 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 just like the record. You know what I mean? And that has brought a lot more of that ability to be in the moment because musically we sometimes don't know what we're doing. Do you know
That's
what I mean?
beautiful. Like, I
Exactly.
don't want the artist to know what they're doing.
Exactly. So every show that everybody sees is a unique experience where something has happened that no other show you're going to see
Mhm.
it at. Because, and Perry, uh, the things that he rants about and talks about in between songs, like he just pulls that shit out of thin air. Like a lot of singers are scripted, How you doing tonight? Let me hear you, Michigan, whatever the fuck it is, right? And they got their fucking whole thing down. Perry is just like some nights he doesn't say anything, other nights he's talking for 15 minutes. You know what I mean? And I go out and I get myself a drink and wait till he's done. But it's just like we don't know. And I think that's part of the magic, and sometimes like last night, most of the show was phenomenal. One of the greatest ever. Oh my God, this is amazing. And then towards the back half of it, it just kind of started slipping into like the mud,
Mm.
and we were all just kind of going, oh, this magic thing that we were feeling isn't happening anymore. Oh well, let's get through it. Wrap it up.
Always
You know what I
tomorrow.
mean?
Yeah, it's
So, but
another
but what
chance.
what I'm saying is, it's kind of like um I guess in a way for us, so we like the excitement of sports in a way, is because, you know, you could be having a great game and you can win it or you can lose it, and so the only way to really win that thing is to stay present and focus. And if something does happen that goes wrong, let it go, because I used to be like, play a song, hit a wrong sour note, be like, fuck. And then the entire show, I'm in a bad mood. Now it's just like, let that go. First of all, probably nobody noticed.
Right.
Second of all, if they did, they're not thinking about it now.
They're not thinking about it now.
So why am I torturing myself?
Mm.
So that's,
And again,
that's
if
kind
every
of,
if every show is perfect, then we're all getting the same show.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So I think I mean, I was kind of being facetious with some of the other things I would think of, although those things do cross my mind. But like in actuality, what we're talking about here, it's like um my my outlook on how I view the performances and the shows and the interaction between the four of us um varies from day to day and from night to night, and our relationships vary from day to day and night to night, and things are, we have broken up on 10 times, right? And there are days where I look at myself and say, no wonder we've broken up 10 times because we're fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like we've no business doing this. You know what I mean? But when it hits, it's all worth it.
I'm so glad that you all have decided to keep going on this. And I mean that. I mean the new song, everything I would have hoped for from you guys. I hope there's more new songs. I know that's usually
Oh,
that's
there
always
are.
the funny thing, right?
It's interesting, and I'll leave you this, or if you want me to leave you with this, whatever. But Imminent Redemption, people are saying, "Oh, it sounds like old school James. It sounds like the follow-up to Ritual." Like, we're hearing a lot of that kind of feedback, which is really nice. But the weird thing about it is that it has a chorus.
Yeah.
Boom, chorus. Because if you think of most Jane's Addiction songs, a mountain song, it's two parts. Ain't No Right, two parts. Jane Says, two parts. Stop, there's no chorus there. Been Caught Stealing, hey, all right, I get by, I guess it's mine. I guess that's a
It's more of a
chorus.
hook than a chorus.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And none of our songs, we never really chorus. There's no chorus to that. Like very rare to find a chorus in our music. Pigs, or something like that.
Never really thought
But
about it, but yeah, you guys do more
but
hooks than choruses. Like
you know,
just because. Yeah, right.
yeah, well, yeah, that's more of a chorus because that was a Chaney song,
Yeah, right. So I
and
went
like
back to
so
the other
it was
side.
more
Yeah.
traditional. But I'm talking more of the Avery material.
Hmm.
Then She Did just keeps going.
Hmm.
3 Days just keeps going, and like this is the first Jane's Addiction song with Eric Avery where it's like, okay, get ready, folks. Here comes the chorus. Boom. You know what I mean? Like we've never really had that,
Raise your hands and
but
sing along.
you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but it works, because I think the rest of the song is simple enough that it ends up still feeling like that A-B structure.
Mhm.
It's like all in E, all in E, all in E, droning, 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 noise, 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 chorus, noise, 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 chorus, and the rest of it's all about the vocal,
Mhm.
you know, and then, but it is unusual for us, but people are responding to it as if it sounds like old stuff, and I'll take it, because I hate the thinking of like, there's this old cliche that they say in studios, don't bore us, get to the chorus.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is just such a creepy
It's a
money
dumb line. It's a
grub.
horrible line. It's a
It's a
horrible. And
creepy
no artist
money
feels good even when they say it, by the way. Even the
money
ones who believe
grubbing,
that.
like, just in search of validation, and like let's hook in the kids and milk them for merch and all. It's just like
Mhm.
it is so creepy. And we've never been like that. But you know. Perry wrote a great chorus. What can I tell you, man? So it just there it is. And the other song that's on the beat side of the vinyl, True Love, and it also kind of has a chorus of its own. It's not quite as on the nose, you know,
Mhm.
because his choruses are there, but they're not on the nose. I think that a lot of that comes from you know we all had different influences as songwriters and bands that we loved, but we all agreed on the Velvet Underground, and I think that creeps in there,
Yeah.
and that's we have that, within an equal amount of sensibility.
That makes sense. I mean, you get a song like All Tomorrow's Parties, but then you get like, you know, Run, 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 or Who Loves the Sun, or, you know, something like that. And it's that, yeah, it's absolutely the same thing. I can see the
Yeah,
instant connection of the two bands.
yeah, because it's just, even though like Venus and Furs, All Tomorrow's Parties, they do have recurring sections, it stays hypnotic.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I think that that's the one of the keys to some of our music is that there's a lot of hypnosis and repetitiveness and just kind of like getting lost in some kind of a trance, and I think Perry's very shamanistic on stage, you know what I mean? And there are times I'm looking at him and he's supposed to be singing and he's not singing, and I look over at him and he's like lost up in, the cosmos somewhere. And I'm like, that's fucking cool, man. You know, I want a front guy like that.
You've done
But
it. You've done it. Like I said, it's for you guys to be doing this far into it and for us to still care in the same way. I mean, you know how rare that is.
well, I appreciate that because I think that we were doing it. If I can be so bold, the past 20 years or so, I don't think we've been doing it the right way.
Mm.
I think we've been a little bit too showbiz. I think that we've been a little too production oriented. I think that we've had too many, you know, distractions. And now that we brought the original lineup back together and really feel like what it feels like to make this music, we're like, you know, we don't need any of that stuff that we had because this is what people cared about in 1988,
Yeah.
you know,
Bet on
and
yourselves.
and it's what they should care about now if they want to come and see us. You know what I mean? It's like I don't. If someone says, "You see the Jane's Addiction show? They had this and they had that and they had fire and they had smoke and like Rammstein." You know what I mean? Which
Right.
I fucking love their
Sure.
production. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against production, and those guys do it fucking right. But you know what I mean?
Mm.
But if somebody walked away from our shows going, "Did you see the Ferris wheel they had with the guy?" Like I'm just like, no, you taking away the wrong thing, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the thing that we're presenting you with. That's just some guy we hired to do a little, you know, acrobatic display of whatever behind us, you know. And if you're walking away talking about that, we're not doing our job right.
Good job. Yeah. Well,
So, but yeah, this feels totally different. And so I appreciate you saying that it matters because I do think, in hindsight, that we have taken a lot of wrong turns to get where we are.
and sometimes you have to. Again, if you get the luxury of a career, if you have the luxury of time as an artist, I mean, you're gonna have to have those moments. Bob Dylan had to get through the 80s to finally get the time out of mind, you know, or
Hmm.
whatever. You know, there's a
Hmm.
million different instances of this that I could
Oh,
go
and
into, but
and listen, I contributed myself by like going on TV shows and doing this and just getting distraction and like becoming the ink master guy and not the musician guy, like so the whole band would be in the airport and people would run up to me and go, "You're the ink master guy," and they have no idea that there's music that
right.
you know
Hmm.
an episode of Ink Master goes away once you've seen it, but we have spent our lives working on music that's here forever, and you just don't even know that. I mean, I don't fault them for it, you know what I mean? But like, but I will take accountability for, you know, being one of the wrong turns, along the way, in addition to some of the collective wrong turns we've taken. And I think that we're all kind of on the same page about not repeating those mistakes.
Yeah, and if it had been perfect though the whole time, again, maybe that wouldn't have been as good. You got to make those turns.
Well,
And
I think also like, having a little bit of volatility remain within the band is what makes it feel original.
Sure. A
You
little bit
know,
dangerous.
because in the beginning it was volatile, and right now it gets volatile. Not all the time, not like it used to.
But you're more mature, right?
We've grown up. We've let go of egos. We've let go of a lot of like little petty little bullshit. We've let go of like, who gets the spotlight or whatever. All that shit that when you're a fucking, you know, a teenager, like you really think matters. Like we don't care about that shit, but we still clash in a lot of ways, and more behind the scenes, really, not even on an entertainment level. But I think, you know unfortunately and unfortunately, that component is a key magical piece to the formula of Jane's Addiction. Because if we were all going on jet skiing trips over the weekend together, I don't think you'd get the same show. You know what I mean?
No, however it has to get here, like I said, thank you for the gift of sound that you have provided.
Thank you, man.
Seriously, thank you so much for the time today and the conversation. I so
My
appreciate
pleasure, man.
it. Yeah.
My pleasure.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.